everybody, Dan from the Compression Session podcast, and today we have on the episode Emily and Zoe, both practitioners here at the spa, and I am so excited for you guys to listen to this episode.
My name is Zoe Klimek, and I do clinical herbal consults here at Rnr Spa and flower essence and sound healing as well. You can find me on my Instagram at emeraldheartcollective_ or on my website at emeraldheartcollective.com.
I am Emily Silker, and I am a psychedelic guide. You can reach me on Instagram at The Humble Warrior or on my website, emilythepsychedeliccoach.com. And Emily is Emili.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Compression Session podcast. I'm here with Emily and Zoe. Emily is a psychedelic guide. Zoe is the in-house butterfly. Maybe we can let Zoe describe.
I can't.
She might be laughing here for a couple minutes, so I'll hop in for her. She is an herbalist. She performs energy work through the practice of Reiki. A birth doula, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mm-hmm. You work with people in their own homes. You help them in their yards. You help them navigate their own energies and the healing process.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
There we go. Perfect.
The butterfly.
The butterfly.
Yeah.
Ladies, I'll let you decide who wants to go first, but I want to hear the origin story. What got you into your individual practices? Oh, Emily.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
No.
how's it goes?
I was like, does that mean I lose or win? I am Emily, and psychedelic guide. What got me into this work was my own journey and figuring out what worked best for me. I started out, doing internal work probably, 15 years ago, and trying all the different modalities, different trauma therapy, EMDR, talk therapy, different somatic things, coaches, anything I could find, because I knew the way I was feeling was not it. I knew there was more to life than where I was at. And so I continued to do the work. And then a couple years ago, somebody told me to try psychedelic mushrooms. And I had a lot going on in my life. And I was just like, you're fucking crazy. That's so weird. But I tried it. I had a safe space held for me and a safe set and setting. And I was amazed at how much work I could do in 4 hours compared to 6 months of therapy. So it started there with psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms. And I just continued to do a lot of research, trying out all the different kinds of plant medicines. And as they aligned, working with them more. And then Third Wave came into my life, which is a psychedelic coaching certification program. And so I started getting certified in that. That was an 8-month intensive program with therapists and doctors and shamans, kind of taking the mix of the two worlds with modern medicine and the indigenous cultures as well, which I loved. It also involved 6-day intensive in Costa Rica with psilocybin and learning how to facilitate with that and working with that medicine. And then after that, people have just been coming to me and working with them. And as I learn more about what works for me and for the people around me, and then continuing to kind of integrate that into my practice as well. But long story short, that's how I'm here.
Love it.
Okay, me. So from being in high school, okay. I'm having a hard time.
You got it.
Deep breath.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. So in high school, you're told to pick an education, pick a path. And so I was like, loved my orthodontist. Like, I'm going to work there. What do I have to do to work there? And so I followed through and I went to dental assisting school and worked in orthodontics for 3 years. And then I was 20 and I was like, I'm really bored. Like, this is not it. Like, this is all a lie. And my best friend was like, well, let's just go hit the road. And so I had my own house, had my own car, all these things that I thought I was supposed to have. Then we had a yard sale and sold everything and moved into my Chevy Equinox. And we did van life we planned to do for 4 months, but ended up being 8 weeks, which is still a really long time, longer than we were expecting. And in that, like the time spent on the road and just the open air was a really confusing time for me because I was like, oh, who am I? And yeah, just spent a lot of time like that. And then through our travels, we didn't want to stop. And so then we bought one-way tickets to Maui for the fall. So then we flew out there after travels around the mainland and then went out there and were just kind of wandering for a few weeks. Didn't know what we were doing still, just having fun. And we found a work trade job on the big island of Maui. And so we hopped over there and lived on this off-grid farm. These beautiful people who just lived off the land. And so our chores were like feeding the chickens and weeding and harvesting things and drying plants. And we didn't have a car and we were at the northern tip of the island. So we were pretty locked in there. But it just taught me so many things about the land. And I just got this vision of what I wanted for my life. I didn't know how I was going to make that happen. And then our time ended there and we came back home. I forgot to add that the people that we stayed with, the mom was a midwife and she was an herbalist. And I was like, whoa, I feel like I could really hold space for people and be a grounding person at birth. And I love plants. So then when I came home, it was the middle of winter. I remember walking out of the co-op and there was a big sign hanging up about a doula training. I had no idea what a doula was. So I went home and I looked it up. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like, I didn't want to be the midwife who's in charge of everything and just had to know all the stuff. I just wanted to be there to support the mom and the family. And so I went through and did that training and didn't know like when I was going to start doing it, you know, like it was just a thing I was putting in my basket. And then what's after that? This is kind of a while ago. I've done a lot of things since then. I moved to Bayfield to take care of my grandma and we would go on walks every day. And I started just harvesting all the plants and taking pictures of them and getting to know them and started my own little apothecary in my basement as just this little hobby. And then my mom sent me a class for the Defoe school that this teacher named Gigi from the Green Wisdom, she was going to be teaching from there. And so I went for a couple of days and we went on these plant walks and just got to learn all the things about plants. And I was like, yeah, this is where I feel alive. And then the next summer I went to herb camp where we spent a week immersed in nature, going to every different ecosystem and learning the plants that were there. And I really connected with flower essences. So that felt really good to me. And so I took that home and I worked on creating my own. And it started out as just like this little book of like my journal and pictures that I'd taken, making my own flashcards basically to go along with it. And then that fall, I went through the Master Herb program through the school. My teacher was like, whoa, you need to do something with this. And so following that creative spark, I took it more serious and went and made my own deck of cards and started just experimenting with my friends with my little one drum that I had and just trusting like where I was being guided to do this with the help of my grandma too. She passed in the spring And so I felt like she was there whispering and like helping guide me through all these things. She was an artist. And so I feel like a lot of that has been passed down to me too, in the way that I just show up and do like unexpected things and follow these sparks. So that's where my herb journey came in. And then, yeah, I guess back to that summer, I had my first Reiki session done on me. And then my teacher invited me to her training program. And that felt something was really like there for me. I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to use this, but we're going to put that one in my basket too. And then continuing learning about birth and the power of the placenta, then I was like, oh, you can encapsulate it. And like your body makes this medicine for you to have and heal. So then I did a training course on that. So like all my branches weave together. And long story short, like just being a lover of life and embracing the things that make me feel alive and help us here while we are balls of energy running around.
Yes.
Yeah.
A few of the things. You're a creator.
Yeah. 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 I'm a generator.
Generator.
Generator
There you
in,
Yeah.
what's that? Human design?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
human design.
I am a generator. So it makes sense.
And we've all said it, like all of us that work here and everything, but you are definitely the age you are beyond anything I think any of us have ever kind of witnessed before. So
Yeah.
it's
Your
just-
human body does not match the rest.
Something is not adding up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Thinking about when you're going to have me describe myself, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, it's a
no.
lot of things and it
Yeah.
makes sense, but it doesn't. Like, if you can't keep up with me, then you
Yeah.
can't.
It's not my
Well,
problem.
and I think that's been probably the story of like all of us too. It's like this ever present evolution. It's just like constant change, you know?
Yeah.
Which actually brings me to the next question.
What about you first?
What about me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
How did you get here?
how did I get here? A lot of injuries actually was kind of the major segue. I was just playing sports growing up as a little kid and getting into high school. And going into high school, I suffered my first, whatever you want to call it, catastrophic injury where ACL was blown out, knee was completely the size of a watermelon, and just surgery wasn't on the table at that point. So I had to do very intensive physical therapy. So I was actually in physical therapy for a total of 3 years, which inevitably, through additional surgeries, landed me into a passion for just healing the body, just everything and anything that just heals, makes the body feel better, gets people active again, gets them back into their gardens or into their homes or playing their sports again. So that landed me in college where I didn't go to school for exercise science like I should have, but I went to school for business, kind of following in my dad's footsteps. Took on a career in corporate finance. So similar to you, Zoe, where it's just like I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but it took me going there and realizing how bored I was going to be with the rest of my life. So I turned to coaching and training, and then sports nutrition, and then health coaching, and then now pre and post rehab specialty. So I work with a lot of patients going into a surgery or coming out of a surgery after physical therapy. Fast forward a couple more years, and the idea of opening up the House of Recovery, Rnr Spa, was born from, kind of the first principles of like our bodies are meant to feel good, and we're meant to be healed, and we're meant to be without pain and without discomfort. And the things that ail us shouldn't limit us. They shouldn't hold us back, kind of thing. So the hormetic stressors of heat and cold water and compression, and then now obviously what you ladies do. And so 6 months ago, a friend was joking with me and said, you should call this the House of Recovery. And my mind instantly went to like drug rehab. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think we can do that. But now 6 months later and like sitting here and I'm like, this is the actual house of recovery.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the body, we're taking care of the minds, we're taking care of the spirit, we're taking care of everything. Even what we did earlier today as a group and
Yeah.
did combo, like from the outsider's perspective, it probably looks miserable. But how you feel after and the days after and the weeks after and what you actually are moving and transitioning through your body and through your being is, you can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I remember talking with you before Emily joined the spa. Like I barely knew you, and we were just talking about how we wanted this place to be more than just like physical recovery, like life recovery.
Yeah.
And to see how it's grown since then is so cool. Like it's still the beginning.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It is just the beginning.
Yeah,
exciting.
Yeah, like we're little babies in this.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm glad we get to have this time together where, you know, maybe we're still misunderstood by other people, but the way we get to practice and share our gifts with each other and grow that confidence, like soul confidence, you know, because we're doing what we came here to do.
Yeah.
And we're practicing that for when it's ready to be receivable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the right people are going to align either way. Yeah.
And I think that's been probably one of the most beautiful things to watch is like the people that walk through the front door for our spa days. And I do want to hop into that, but
Oh, yeah.
these people are called on a deeper level.
Yeah.
They're not just walking in for the novelty of a new experience. Like these people are coming in and they're sharing their lives stories and what's hurt them in the past and what they're dealing with and, you know, how they want to feel going forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not like we're running down the street and like grabbing these people by their collars and dragging them in the door. They're called to come in here.
They can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ladies, we should talk about that because obviously that's kind of like the current things we find ourselves doing is these spa days.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ladies want to kind of talk about that? Maybe your individual parts and how you've interacted with the spa days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the way it started was you interviewing me here for my line of work, I guess. And then we talked about the spa day and having me as like I don't know, what did you call it that time? Like a guest speaker or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of evolved from there where now we did that and it was like I was a guest speaker and then we had the stations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been fine tuning it ever since. It's been packed we've been full just about every time except for one time. We dropped the ball on advertising, which was fine. It turned into an amazing day. So we brought the spa day down to the beach and pulled in other people from the beach. And like it still turned out exactly how it was supposed to. But anyways, how spa day is kind of going now is we have some medicinal medicine. Zoe and I both kind of do whatever's feeling good between breath work, sound bath, meditation, yoga, all of those things, kind of helping people drop into the medicine. I think this week we planned for you to lead the yoga.
Mm-hmm.
We're switching things up because before we were doing it with the medicine only for like an hour and then people were going to the individual stations, right? And my intention, and I think you guys are in alignment with this as well, that this is like a healing space. And so sitting with the medicine longer and using it with intention to heal. And it can be fun to connect with people on it too. And that's kind of what it ended up doing most of the day with Spa Day before. But now having people go more inward because we were seeing those people go off with emotions and meditate in some areas and people going other areas. So now staying in one space, going inward for a few hours with the sound bath and all of our gifts in the room of moving energy and pressure points and things like that, incorporating that is exciting. And then, then you have, then you guys have your parts as well. I guess if you want to explain that.
Yeah. I guess from the beginning, having you as the host, it never felt like you were just coming in. It just like felt like that's what we were supposed to be doing. Like you didn't feel like you just came in to do this. Like,
no, I kind of just like moved in right away too. Cause I was like, oh, I belong here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to stay.
Yeah. And so the way that it was divided in the past, I was in one of the rooms working with people. And one of my primary medicines that I work with is the flower essences. So people would come in and see me where I had like this low lighting, very just like sacred space for them. They come in with their intention, whether it's tied to the ceremony or if they had just like an individual pattern that they were trying to work through. And so we'd pick the flower essence from my deck and they'd be able to lay down and get into this space. And I'd guide them through this meditation with sound and then do Reiki on them. And so we were doing like mini sessions with people. And I feel like when you're in the medicine, 15 minutes is a long time. But up until like the last spa day where people were trying to like come in my door, you know, we kind of recognized like, oh, that's where we need to shift and pivot and give people more of that space. And we need to kind of balance it out between all of us being in a room together and not just on me, because that's what people were coming here for. And a lot of people, their intention was to just open up and like be in community and be able to like not be awkward. But I feel like that's something people have been working through the last couple of years, is like how to be social again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how this new one goes and our flow and what's to come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think we all have the same intentions in the end. So we just keep working towards that and people can feel that when they come in here.
Yeah.
I mean, they've told us that they do.
Yeah.
It's a safe space.
Yeah. And I think one of the great things is we've all taken on the responsibility of holding the space. You know, in each group, it has been uniquely different. Like we've had groups where it's just like everyone's giggling and laughing and having a good time. And then there's been times where there's people that have to cry. They have to, like it bubbles to the surface. And, you know, and I think one of the things that allows that to happen is people recognize that we're here to hold the space for you. Whether you want to laugh, whether you want to cry, whether you want to, whatever you want to navigate, you know, we're here for you.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's one of the reasons why the right people are being called, is because they recognize that the second they walk in the door and they see each one of us, they're like, okay, we can trust these people. Like, they're not going about this, you know, willy nilly. Like this is, we take it very seriously, and it's, and yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes and how people continue to come in and show up and how we show up for them.
Yeah. It seems like as word gets out to like the mental health workers as well, then more people are coming here for like the healing aspect of it. Yeah. But then at the end, then we do sauna and cold plunge too. And it's kind of, low key after.
Where do you ladies, well, I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this. What would you say to someone that maybe is hearing this now and they're still like maybe on the fence, or they're like, I'm just not quite sure this is for me? What would you say to those?
About
spa day or our individual?
About spa day, yeah.
I feel like maybe if it's something they feel intimidated by, like isn't something that keeps me in check to be humble, is like I'm learning, and through each person is a mirror. And so when I'd have my one-on-one sessions with people, like they would show me so much about myself. So through this experience, like I'm also learning, and it's not like any of us are here better than anyone. Like we're just humans. Like we were called to hold this space for people. And it's welcoming, and the right people are always there. Yeah. And so if like you're feeling called to come and sit with the medicine, then hello. Answer the call.
We're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like people fear that they're going to be like seeing things or things are going to be moving or whatever. But it's so light that it's not scary.
Yeah.
And the space that you're in, like it's tiptoeing in to the medicine.
Yeah.
Very slowly, very lightly, and then again having the safe space is huge. We've had a lot of first timers that are just like blown away. Even one that was a therapist that she just couldn't believe her mind, which was good. That was fun to see. So, yeah, I think even if you have fear of just coming in and feeling into the space and just doing the sound bath and seeing how that feels. And most of the time people kind of feel comfortable enough. We're like, okay.
Yeah. And it's a different experience than doing it out in the wild with your friends. Like if I were to have done it in the spa setting, I maybe would have taken it way more seriously. Like when we did our group session together, that was the first time I'd actually ever laid there and closed my eyes and gone inward and like sat with it in that way. Whereas in the other times that I had, I'd just been outside running around barefoot and connecting with the earth. And I feel that is a strong part of why I feel so connected, but it's necessary. And, you know, everybody could use a little bit of that. But yeah, the inward experience is you can't describe it to anyone, and there's no pressure to do or say anything. Just like go in that space and not be afraid of yourself and what the inside has to show you.
Yeah.
It's waiting to be revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the worst thing is your mind. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if anything scary were to come up with your mind, it needs to be looked at either way. Either way, it's there.
Yeah.
So you might as well look at it and get through it.
Yeah. And be with people that know how to hold space
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful opportunity, ladies, if you want to. I would love to talk about kind of our more transformative ceremonies. And maybe from like an individual kind of standpoint, if you're
Sure.
comfortable.
So like ones that we've done, does it matter if it was like together or
I
individual?
was thinking either the together ones, or I would assume more of with when we've done group ceremonies, like when we did our ceremony together, the intentions there, but I'm thinking more of like the individual, like the solo journeys, or maybe the visits to Costa Rica, or the journeys alone kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll talk about my most recent one was the most life-changing, in a way. I did ayahuasca at a church in Minneapolis. I was feeling called back to do ayahuasca again, but things weren't naturally aligning in other places where I was just like, oh, I need to leave the country and go to, Peru or something like that, or Costa Rica. But it wasn't working and I wasn't going to force it. And then somehow it aligned in Minneapolis perfectly. And anyways, I went there. The first night was extremely challenging. I drank more medicine than I wanted to. I drank the right amount of medicine, but it was more than I wanted, which resulted in a night of being completely disconnected from myself, my body, everything, which I had never experienced with ayahuasca before, and purging like crazy out of my mouth. And laying in my own vomit for like 10 hours straight. So that was like a very intense experience. And it sounds horrible, but actually like I would do it again. The energetic release that I've been holding on to from different traumas, I didn't realize was so heavy until it was gone. And that was my way to release that energy. And I had been working through those traumas mentally with psilocybin and MDMA, but I didn't realize how much of the energy was still stuck in me that I wasn't releasing. And so I went the next day I was supposed to go again. And I was just like, I can't go. That was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. But something just kept pulling me back. And the first night too, I told her, I said, I'm not coming back. She said, you're coming back. I was like, I'm not coming back. She's like, you're coming back. And so, yeah, I came back the next day and ended up only having like a third of a cup. I worked with the ayahuasca girl more closely that night to make sure the experience was not as challenging and more of, he called it like more of a celebration that night. And so that night I was able to learn to work with the medicine and my body in a way where I was able to work the energy through me and work with different things going on in my life and feel them and work through them somatically, mentally. Also experiencing, visions of maybe the future that's still being integrated. Yeah, a lot of perspective shifts of how much beauty I have in my life instead of feeling like things are have to and I have to do this. It was more just like, holy shit, I get to do all these things and that beauty in that. So yeah, I think that has been one of my most transformational and still pretty recent. So I'm excited to see how it continues to bring me or where it continues to bring me. It also showed me this gift that I'm able to move energy. And so I'm using Zoe as kind of a mentor too, and figuring out what I'm even doing with my hands when I'm feel this intensity going through them. So that will be exciting as well.
As she was talking, I was like sifting through all of my experiences, and I've had a lot of fun times that I could share. But the one that I do want to talk about is the one that I kind of was able to move through the last few days. And so what I'm talking about is combo. And the first time that I did it was a couple months ago before we had a girls' weekend. And we were going to sit with another medicine called Wachuma. And so the way that combo works is they get these little dots burnt into your skin, and it's a frog secretion that is put into there. It's known as the vaccine, the vaccine of the Amazon. Am I saying that backwards? And so there's tons of peptides and antibodies in there, and just help with toxin removal. And so we were using it before the Wachuma ceremony to help clear out the ends of the receptors that are in your brain to like have a stronger effect with that medicine. And yeah, it was really intense. Everything was coming out of every hole. Yeah, like I had my period and it was just like every way it could come out, it could. But just like this huge purge of things, I guess, that needed to come out. And it's not an enjoyable experience. And so it's not something that I got done when I was like, yeah, I can't wait to do it again. But then probably a month ago, I had this dream that I was serving myself combo and I was talking to this other guy explaining what I was doing. And so I told Em, like, I think I'm supposed to do combo again. And she explained the time frame of the window of like the suggested.
Yeah, what I was taught from my practitioner.
Yeah, is like you do it 3 times from full moon to full moon. And with like my busy schedule and Emily too, like it aligned to have 3 days in a row, which actually I think was pretty nice too, because you have to change your diet going into all of it. Like no red meat, no sugar, alcohol, caffeine, just eating really clean. And so I've been trying to do that since my last cycle started, but then really intensely leading up to this. And so the first day, my intention was just like to sweep up the cobwebs of my energy and lift this density. Because in the Amazon, the tribes that use it, they use it to clear this panema. And it's this dark, like dense cloud of energy that's around you. And they use it to like clear it. And then they would do it and go out to the forest and be able to have clarity and find the animals that they were hunting before they even saw them. But relating back to me, just to clear out the density and this energy after like all the work that I feel I've been doing, and I just needed this like deep purge and clearing. And so that day, I did 4 dots, which was more than my first time. And so it's just this really intense feeling of being like swollen and vomiting. But knowing that it's like you're riding this wave, and Emily and Dan being there, well, you're there, to just like cool me off and support me and be there and just like know that I was going to ride this wave and it was going to be over. And so, yeah, day 1, another thing like I remember is my hands got really tingly and like I couldn't move them. So it was this crazy feeling. But I think going back to my intention, it was like energy was just getting cleared out of there. And I work with my hands a lot, so it made sense. And then day 2, I was sitting at home in my little yoga room thinking about the day before and my intention for today. Well, day 2. And it just like came through to like purge this energy of addiction and this cycle and pattern that I have within my own family and like in our society. Everybody's addicted to something. Yeah. And so it was like this need to have to clear it for the collective, but also my own lines. Whether it's like addiction to drugs or alcohol or sugar or our phones, like there's so many things we just get fixated on. And so I feel the way that lesson has already been working through me is like being aware of when I'm going to like eat food to fill a void of like, oh, I'm bored, or grabbing my phone in like this spaciousness and then just like putting it back. I'm like, I don't need to do that. Like go back to my book. And so, yeah, I feel that energy is gone, but it's up to me to just like pick now how to rewire my brain in that way. And I also felt called to use a flower essence called Nicotiana, which is the flower of the tobacco. And so tobacco is an abused substance in our culture too, with cigarettes. But traditionally it was meant to like ground us, and its true essence reminds us of the connection between the earth world and the spirit world. And so I had that with me yesterday. So that felt really good and supportive. Yeah. And then today was my last day. I remember walking in thinking like, okay, I'm hungry, but day 3, I got this. And my intention being to clear my line and the energy within that. And the way that this medicine moved through me today, it was like I could feel it in my back. And so I was doing like the EFT tapping all the way around and just like feeling it move up. And then I went to lay down and had this huge release in my back, and it just felt so good. And so, yeah, looking back at that experience of like all the energy that was cleared and lifted, I feel really empowered that I made it through that, because it's not something everybody can do, but
you did it gracefully.
I guess
the most graceful purge I've ever seen.
Yeah. And to know that I was so supported by you guys, it just like made it so much easier and comforting. Yeah. I was going to say one more thing, but I forgot. That's okay.
Sananga burns.
Yeah.
Sananga.
Sananga burns.
Do you want to talk about that?
I'll just touch on it really quick. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and maybe just kind of adding in there, very proud of you, Zoe, for your work over the last 3 days.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's very brave.
I have one point that was like going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I found it in my brain. Through this process, just like learning how strong our bodies are and how like we can ride these waves of discomfort through it all. And that like we just have so many toxins in our lives in an environment. And so to like clear that out of mine, and in my journey, I've just like follow these little golden nuggets of what I'm supposed to pursue and do for the time being, and being called to work with that medicine. I feel like it could help a lot of people in the future, and I don't think a lot of people know about it now, but we'll see what happens to it. And yeah, if anybody wants to talk about it more. Yeah, I feel really passionate, and I love it.
And it's legal.
What'd you say?
It's legal.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think you said estito.
No,
I don't know.
Legal.
It is.
The
It
government
is.
hasn't shut that one down yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say to me is something about like, if you really want to heal yourself, like your physical body, this is a way to do it.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, it's intense, but this lightness that I feel in my body, but also because of the way I've had to eat and just like really look at all these different things. It's
Yeah.
more than just like showing up puking. It's this purge of everything.
Yeah. One of the things I always remember too, doing it, is the peptides, because obviously that's a huge topic right
Yeah.
now in both the pharmacological sense and just like science and research in general, is these peptides.
Mhm.
And it's like every time I do it, I have the kind of thought in my mind that this is a much more ancient form.
Yeah.
This is the original peptides. And the fact that it goes throughout the body where the body needs it to go is just, that always blows my mind, you know? Like you and I both have felt it like in the throat the last couple of days doing it.
Mine was like day 1. Day 2 wasn't as bad today. It wasn't at all.
Because I've noticed like my allergies this time around too. And like I've felt it a lot in my head, and then I got a little bit of the tingliness in the hands, but especially when you said it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, with how much energy work goes through your hands, I mean, that has to be an area where the peptides are going to go and the medicine has to go to like help you clear everything out, you know?
Yeah.
And then, Sananga, we did that today for your last day, my last day too.
Yeah.
And then, that's just, Emily, is it still the same, like similar substance? It's just,
It's a tree.
it's tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all Zoe. I'm like, I don't know the plants with everything. I just know what it does to you.
Yeah.
So tree distilled down, and then it's an eye drop. And then
Yeah.
for the people out in the audience on the YouTube world that have done like eye drops before and that burning sensation, it's that you just times it by
2.
Two.
You said
2. Yeah,
What,
I'll
what
go
are those?
2.
Roto?
Roto, like
Roto.
roto eye drops.
Yeah. Rotos are cooling.
Yeah.
This one is really warm.
Really warm, really spicy on the
burns.
eyeballs, but it feels amazing after.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like your vision, like even now looking around the room, it's definitely, I notice a difference.
Yeah. It feels brighter.
It does
and
feel
clear and
brighter.
sharp.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both for sharing your experiences.
You gonna share yours?
I'm going to share mine. Yeah. So I'm new to the plant medicine world. I did it in like high school and college, but it was just from the point of like having fun, like going to festivals or going to a nightclub or doing whatever. So when Emily came in and opened up my eyes to the potential that these plant medicines could be used as far as the therapeutic benefit, I went into my first ceremony with the intentions of connecting to my mom, who I lost at a very young age, and never really had an opportunity to meet her, hear her voice, anything. I think we did kind of an initial like microdose experience with the medicine first.
Yeah. To figure out your sensitivity level.
Yep. And then it came in. The spa was closed that day. And I was presented with the opportunity to take a cup of tea, which had medicine in it. And
Happened to be sitting there.
it just happened to be sitting there.
Oh, it was closed anyway.
Yeah, the spa was closed. One of the things I want people to definitely understand is, as we've kind of stated before, like I knew going into this that I was going to be laying on the floor. My eyes are going to be closed as much as I can keep them closed. I went in scared. I was. I naturally had the fear of like, what happens if my brain just goes into places I don't want it to go. One of the things after reading several books though, is understanding that the medicine is going to take you where you need to go, not where you want to go. And for me, I think that was the most profound experience of my life, because it took me to my mom, but it took me where I wanted to go. Was I wanted to hear her voice, and I wanted to like hold her hand, and I wanted to tell her like I grew up and here I am, and you know, I made it okay. But I just got to feel her. It was just like it was the most real experience of her that I can. It's the most real experience, getting to feel someone that's not physically there. But the medicine showed me that, and she showed me that she's just always there. Like she never went anywhere. So, yeah. I always tell Emily that, you know, it's one of those things like you can just like say thank you 100 times, but really, thank you.
To me, you did it.
You know, she always says that, and it's so true. I want people to understand, like,
do I always say that?
Yeah, and you do it. It's so true, though. It is so true. The medicine, I think a lot of times, like, and this is why it's so important that these conversations are had, because I think people need to realize, like, the healing that occurs is by your own doing.
Yeah.
Like the medicine, all it does is it opens the door. But like you have to still be the one that like walks in there, like shines the light on the dark stuff that's in there, and like work with it.
Yeah.
It's not completely passive. It's interactive, you know?
And it takes courage.
And it takes courage.
It takes a lot of courage.
And, you know, and that's one of the things that I've reminded people like that are new to it too, is like, this is a brave experience. And, and
but it will change your life.
It will change your life. Yeah.
In some ways that you might not even want.
Yes. So yeah, that was the first ceremony, first experience with plant medicines, and I've kind of jumped in both feet ever since. And so maybe this is a good opportunity to maybe say, like, where do we think our fields are going? And like, you know, within the understanding the plants and herbalist and your apothecary and everything.
Yeah. Well, I feel just people are getting fed up with what we've been fed, like all the lies. And they've been around for so long, but just this veil is like going away and things are being revealed. And they're like, we're being lied here and here and here and here. And people just want to be helped. They want to feel supported. They don't want to depend on other things. And so something that I've felt guided to do this summer is do more plant walks with people. Because I was making my own things, but people can only meet you where you're at. And so they could like buy something, but to have the knowledge on how to use it or what it is, or that like these plants I just foraged out of my yard, you know, and they're in yours too, is just really empowering for people to have. And so last week I went to our friend Amelia's house and walked her land with her and her husband. We were there for like 2 hours, and I pointed out over 30 different plants to her of like, here's the uses and here's the way they can support you and here's their energetics. And I think it just helped her connect so much deeper with her land and to be like, wow, you know, this planet provides so much for us, and it's ready to like be received. And that brings me to this quote that I found in this book, actually, that I wanted to share today about plants. So the plants and trees are calling us to take up our rightful place and reclaim our birthright of being part of nature, not separate from it. They're asking us to remember who we are, where we live, and how to live. They're guiding us into our evolution to know the truth of our lineage as sacred humans, those who walk with spirit and aliveness each and every day. And so, yeah, I feel that part is really important in my work with people, is just like sharing that we are not separate from them, and we're not better. You know, it's this exchange of energy, and the medicine that we need just grows right outside of our doors. And yeah, as long as there's someone in your family that knows a couple of things about herbalism, you know, or you have a few books or something, like it's a safe place to be and to know. Yeah. And so I'm excited to continue working with people too. So I also offer herbal consults. So I send out this long intake. It goes very in depth and looks at things from a holistic perspective, not just like, here's your symptom. Okay, here's this herb. And I see that a lot too. So that's a hard thing. If people will text me and be like, oh, I'm having this issue. Like, what do I need to do for this? You know, but I don't know if their body is hot, cold, dry, if they're on any medication. So there's like so many things that I need to ask in order to like be responsible and feel good about what I'm asking. And so through my master program that I did, we did a whole section on clinical herbalism, and how to do that side of things. So clinical herbalism, then community herbalism, doing like the plant walks and stuff. I'm also working on some stuff to have at the spa here, like a little sweat spray maybe, and some air, like essential oil spray, and some different salves. But yeah, if anybody wants to talk herbs.
The
I could talk
lullaby
with them for a long
tincture.
Yeah.
Lullaby tincture will knock you the F out.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It's a magical
Put you to
one.
sleep.
Yeah.
Guess I don't know if I answered your question about where things
Yeah.
are going, but I feel, people are just ready to receive this and are ready and starving for this knowledge to be able to help themselves. And also on the side of energy, realizing that we are energy and things get stuck. And the reason that you're having knee pain may not always be because of this physical thing, you know, like energy gets stuck in different places in your body. And the way that these flower essences work too, like they're ready to be here with people and they help shift things energetically. And so I call on them in our sessions to help move things and be allies while I'm also moving the energy for people. Because sometimes energy is just like the root of whatever it may be. And people feel it when they have these big releases. Like I have people who are laying there crying with me and there's no words. They're just there with their eyes closed and we're just moving it out. And we're just acknowledging that we're energetic beings too. Yeah.
I forgot the question. Where do we see ourselves going?
Yeah. Where do you see like
Zoe.
your field going, like your practices?
It's shifted so much since I've even started, but well, first of all, we'll be transferring there's a church in town that we'll be transferring here, that I helped start, and then I kind of went away from that church for a bit, and now I will be taking it back. So that will be coming up to the spa, which I'm excited about. And so with that, when the church is here, we will be serving different entheogenic medicines, which are psychoactive plant medicines. So I'm really excited for that to be here, just to work openly more with that church and have that space. I think it's going in that direction because of things that are going on with the government and the FDA and MDMA and all those things right now. That's a little making things difficult, but if people choose to use MDMA for therapeutic reasons, and then come into my office, then I am starting to sit with people using that because I have felt MDMA has been very powerful in my own healing process, especially with a big trauma that had come to surface a couple months ago. I was working with MDMA before that, but since then, I've felt more strongly called with that medicine because there is so much clarity and you can still get to your subconscious. You can have, a list of questions ready and go into those questions of whys in your life and sit with pain and not really feel it. You can sit and feel the pain move through you and process it and not feel it so strongly as you would not in that medicine. So I think it's very powerful for a lot of things. That is one way. I'm continuing, with microdosing with my clients and doing it's bilateral tapping. It's EMDR kind of type therapy with them. So mixing microdosing with that and supporting them in that way. And then doing the psilocybin ceremonies. And I think the psilocybin ceremonies, when we do them with the church, will be probably, it seems like it's going in the direction of group ceremonies with all the direction that we are all going as well. So I see that happening and being really big. And we even have an event coming up, non-psychedelic, which is going to be fun too. That's going to be some people coming up from Minneapolis. So that's going to be like a big group that I think will be cool to see how that goes. So yeah, it's going in a lot of directions, but like exciting directions where it feels very easy and fun now. And it's people coming in with a lot of trauma and heavy stuff, but I think because it's not heavy for me anymore, it's much easier to hold that space and know that I'm going to get them, or that I could maybe be a part of getting them to the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And then working with energy and stuff too, and incorporating that into my practices. That's been really fun lately, and having clients call and, tell me what they've experienced with mixing the energy work with ceremonies that's been really fun too. So.
Yeah. And I feel like together, something that we've talked about is this idea of you being there for their ceremony, and then they having the option to add in like me or Jen, or I don't know how things would work with you, but like they want extra support, like from the flowers and just like another person to hold space depending where they're at and what they're trying to achieve with their intention. So I see like this combination of not necessarily group ceremony, that there's like a lot of, I don't know, people receiving it, I guess, but like one person to like a lot of support.
Like facilitators. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think it kind of depends on who walks through the door, right? Of like, if they want to be in a group and kind of trying things out, or if they have stuff that they need a lot of support for. Yeah. We have so many like tools and gifts to support people in that way, which is going to be really exciting to start kind of playing around with that. And I think Spa Day has been a good way to kind of play with it, but like, yeah, to really incorporate it one-on-one with people is going to be fun.
Yeah. And I'm feeling this, like, I've only practiced energy here, but through this conversation, I'm like, okay, like, here's where I'm going to start saying, okay, I'm open for consults to people. Cause it's been just like quiet, while I've been learning, but yeah, like in this moment, it's like my little nugget. It's like, okay, you're going to do this now. It's okay. It's time. Yeah. Because that's just how it happens. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are called.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I can't thank you both enough for doing this. And I know there's probably 2 or 3 more hours we could sit on these microphones and just keep going. So I hope we can do this again and do episode 2 sometime in the near future.
Part 1. It would be fun to look back at this, even from like the questions you asked, in even the few months. I feel just like the things that are rapidly shifting in all of our lives is like crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. This whole thing, since we've all come together, it's just been rapid.
Yes. It has
in
been.
a good way, but it feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for creating this space.
Yeah.
I mean, you had no idea we were going to
I had
be
no
where we
idea.
are, but you made it and we showed up.
Yeah.
It's like fill the dreams.
Yep. Build it and they will come. No, that's exactly it. Well, thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching this episode with Emily and Zoe. If you want to follow them, again, I will link their bios and Instagram websites in the caption below, and we'll catch you next time.